Happy Wednesday. It's a glorious day here in Austin, around mid 70s. Wasn't too bad when I stood in line to go vote off of a 2222 breaker, which is the disability center. I would say it's probably the longest time I had to wait to vote, and even then it wasn't really outrageous. I think I probably spent maybe 15 minutes in line and another 5-ish, 10-ish minutes actually voting. So it wasn't really too bad. It definitely stood in line longer many moons ago, but this time it wasn't too bad. I mean, yes, there were people out the door, but it was early voting. You just gotta go out and vote. And that's my whole spiel about voting. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about Russia because, it seems to be a hot topic these days. Nobody really knows what's going on. We're getting lies from all the usual places. And I honestly don't know what's going on, to be honest. And I just know that, unfortunately, the people of Ukraine have to suffer. The soldiers of Russia has to suffer, all because governments can't get along for some reason. I do think this was preventable, and I think we're going to find out how preventable it was in about 5-10 years from now, or even after it. But of course, this is probably one of the reasons why Putin is fed up with the Western society. Russia-Ukraine war. Russia, repeat, unsupported dirty bomb claim, fueling fears of an escalation. I mean, how do we know his claims are unfounded or unsupported? Do we have to trust the Ukrainian people? Do we have to trust the militia people that are fighting, that are volunteering, that might have alternative motives? Do we have to trust them? I'm just asking questions. According to this, Russian leader said without offering evidence that Ukraine was planning to detonate a bomb designated to spread radioactive material, Washington warned that Moscow could be trying to create a pretext of its own attack. So-called experts. Let's see here. Putin repeats unfounded accusation that the West has labeled disinformation. President Vladimir Putin on Wednesday repeated Russia's unmistakable warning that Ukraine was preparing to explode a so-called dirty bomb as concerns rose in the West that Kremlin was seeking a pretext to escalate its war with Ukraine. According to who? Where have they used these tactics? Mr. Putin joined the chorus of senior Russian officials who have claimed in recent days without providing evidence. Has he provided evidence and you just ignored them? I mean, there's no way of knowing. I mean, if journalists are not going to do their job, if governments are just going to ignore what he has to say, and what if there is a bomb that comes off? Are we just going to attack Russia and then we're going to find out that Ukraine really did detonate a dirty bomb? And it turns out Putin was right after we conquer his country? Or is there actually going to be an investigation and we're going to find out the truth, unlike we did with Iraq? Or we're just going to go, this is our chance? I mean, these are just questions. These are concerns I have. Mr. Putin, you have dirty bomb, which uses conventional explosives to spread radioactive material. It was the first time the Russian leader made the claim, which Western officials have dismissed, suggesting Moscow could use it as a pretext for launching its own attack. I mean, you keep on ignoring Putin. You keep on ignoring Putin at your own perils. Unfortunately, as an American, as a country that's giving Ukraine a blank check, as a taxpayer, I should have the right to question the motives of my own country. State television broadcast short clips of launches as well as an excerpt from Mr. Putin receiving a briefing from Russia Defense Minister Sergei K. Shoigu says that the tests have been successful. At the same time, Russian military conducted an annual exercise involving land and sea airfield tests of its missiles capable of carrying out nuclear warheads. Well, you know what? Any warhead, any rocket, missile, whatever you want to call it, could be carrying warheads. Russia informed the United States that of the test beforehand, as it's stipulated by the disarmament treaties. U.S. officials have said that the U.S. officials said that Russia annual strategic exercises started Wednesday morning, and they appeared routine with all customary notifications in place. What a sentence. Russia informed the United States of the test beforehand, stipulated by the disarmament treaties. U.S. officials have said that Russia's annual, I know it's just a tongue twister, but Mr. Putin's claim, coupled with military exercises, added to the concerns of a possible escalation in the war with Ukraine, a day after President Biden warned Mr. Putin that it would be an incredible, serious mistake to use a tactical nuclear weapon in the conflict. A dirty bomb is not a nuclear device. Yes, it is. If there's nuclear material involved, it is a nuclear device. It does not have the nuclear explosion of the big kaboom, boom, 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 but it is a nuclear device as it spreads radiation in fine dust particles. That's where I disagree with this statement. Dirty bomb is not a nuclear device, but Biden warning reflects an increasingly urgent concern in Washington and among Western allies that Russia may be searching for a pretext to unleash a tactical nuclear weapon. Apparently, only the United States can drop nukes in Japan, and that's it. But that's not all of the story. Some of the fallout from the Afghan pullout, because Biden had a sloppy pullout. His pullout game wasn't on point this time. Russia recruiting U.S. trained Afghan soldiers to fight in Ukraine. Russia is recruiting former Afghan commandos left behind in the chaotic U.S. withdrawal from Kabul last year to join its war on Ukraine, according to a new report. They have no country, they have no job, they have no future, they have nothing to lose, an unnamed Afghan military source told the Foreign Policy magazine. They are waiting for work for $3 to $4 a day in Pakistan or Iran, or $10 a day in Turkey, and if Russia, Wagner mercenary group, or any other intelligence service come to a guy to offer the $1,000 to be a fighting man again, they won't reject it. The Post was unable to independently confirm the foreign policy report after speaking with several former Afghan security forces troops who remain in Kabul. They ain't saying, they ain't speaking. However, trapped in a country led by Taliban enemies who want them dead, many former ASF members remain in hiding and unable to work, sources have told the Post. Others have fled to neighboring nations to survive on little to no money, which can make them an easy target for Russia recruiters, floating the promise of a hefty payday. I mean, here's an idea. Why don't Ukraine take some of the money that we're giving them and offer these people a job to go fight the Russians? I mean, all is fair in love and war. Why not play that game as well? If true, the revelations, some stipulated Rep. Michael McConnell predictions in his August report on President Biden's Afghan exodus, which criticized the White House for leaving behind tens of thousands of elite Afghan military personnel, interpreters, and female leaders promising sanctuary by the U.S. It's possible these former Afghan military and other intelligence personnel could be recruited or coerced into working for one of America's adversaries and maintain a presence in Afghanistan, including Russia, China, or Iran, the Texas Republican wrote. As a top Republican of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, McCall ordered the report to investigate the failures and the fallout of the evacuation mission. I mean, apparently Joe Biden pulled out like his father should have pulled out, but that's just because I don't like the man. He has proven himself to be a weak leader, and this is the result. The former Afghan soldier integrated with the Russian military would come as a country scrambles to boost its total force numbers. Russia President Vladimir Putin last month called up 300,000 conscripts to join the fight in Ukraine to replace the estimated tens of thousands of troops before them who have died. Like I said, those people are going to suffer. The soldiers are going to suffer. The people of Ukraine is going to suffer because governments cannot get along. Though the commandos and soldiers bowed swiftly to the Taliban as the U.S. was backing out of Afghanistan, Pentagon officials who have held their skills in high esteem as they have been trained by the U.S. Navy SEALs in programs that cost Americans tens of billions of dollars, blood, sweat, lives. The Afghan forces were held in such high regard that the top brass, including General Mark Milley, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, did not expect the Taliban to take over as swiftly as they did, believing the security force were trained enough to hold off the insurgency. My understanding is we were offering support, we were offering logistics, and we just pulled out like it was nothing. We just pulled out like we were leaving for a vacation. Our vacation was over, so pack up your gear, we're leaving, you're on your own, have a good life. And we took out one of their methods of being able to fight back. It was a supply chain issue, from my understanding, that they weren't able to take over as quickly as possible. You had soldiers that didn't have ammunition. You had soldiers that had vehicles but no gas. It was a cluster of all clusters in the situation. A negative outcome, a Taliban automatic military takeover, is not a foregone conclusion, Milley told reporters on July 21st, 2021, less than a month before the fundamentalist group took over the country on August 15. Then those skills were redirected to support Americans' adversaries. It could mean serious trouble for the U.S. effort to support the war in Ukraine, McCall warned in his report. All right, this is almost over. The recruitment of a former Afghan military and intelligence personnel pose a major national security risk due to the fact that Afghan personnel knows the U.S. military intelligence community's tactics, techniques, and procedures, he said. But yes, this is what happens when you have a weak president. This is what happens when you pull out of Afghanistan, leaving a bitter taste of the people you said you had their back, showing that you don't have their back. They may feel a little bitter. I mean, it's Russia, Afghan all over again. This time, it's Americans who screwed Afghanistan instead of Russia. Or not really Russia, it was the USSR, but more or less Russia. So this is terrible news to hear from Ukraine if this is true. It's terrible news that they actually joined the fight to fray because they got experience. I'm not saying Ukrainian soldiers don't have experience, but these people have decades of experience. These people have a lifetime of experiences. And they were able to defeat both the United States, British, and the USSR. So you know that they're capable. With that being said, leave a comment down below on what your thoughts are. Please smash the like and subscribe button on any all platforms or just the platform that you're currently on. But most importantly, have yourself a wonderful day, morning, or evening.